What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and to another WNBA video. We have ourselves a two-game slate to dive into for Saturday, July 12th. So I'm going to break down and analyze each of those games. I'm going to talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points on the spread. And then when it's all said and done, make sure you check down there into the pinned comment. You'll find a link down there that's going to send you over to the Guy Boston Sports website. That's where all of my final plays for these games are going to be listed for free. Now, before we dive into these games, let's go ahead and jump over there to the website. Let's see what we took on Thursday and how that ended up going down. And we do split on our picks on Thursday, 1-1. We took the Lynx catching 3.5 points. We got that one early, man. Minus 130 odds on Hard Rock. Put a full unit on it. We do cash. Put a same game parlay in on the next game, though. The Mystics versus the Aces. Shakira Austin, 10 plus points. Sonia Citron, 10 plus points. And Kiki Iriafin, 6 plus rebounds. We do not cash, man. Kiki hits for us. Shakira hits for us. Sony lands at 9 points. So what do you know? We lose another play on the hook. Wouldn't you know it, right? So yeah, guys, the string of bad luck just kind of seems to continue on, right? That's now 4 of our last 6 losses landing right on the hook, man. What can't make this stuff up. But all we can do is brush ourselves off, pick ourselves up, man, and get right back to work, right? We got 2 more games to dive into for today. Let's go ahead and do just that, man. Smash that like button down there for me, guys, if you can, and hit subscribe if you have not already. Let's jump into the mix, man. 1 p.m. tip-off time for our first game. Going to be the Minnesota Lynx taking on the Chicago Sky. Lynx going to be laying 10.5 in this one. Total sitting at 161.5. It's the first of 2 straight between these two, and both will be played in Chicago. Minnesota is on the road for the 3rd game of a 4-game road trip. Chicago will be home for this one for their 2nd game of this 4-game homestand. Now, the Sky are coming in off of an 11-point win over the Wings their last time out. They sit at 6-13 straight up now, 11-8 to the number. And man, they have been, some covering machines as of late, covering the line in 7 straight games now. Minnesota is sitting at 18-3 on the year, 12-10 against the spread, and they're fresh off of a bounce back win over the Sparks. They have covered in 5 of their last 8. Now, this is one of those tricky ones, man, because we just saw the Sky play these Lynx pretty tough this past Sunday. They were in that one until the closing seconds. But at 10.5 points, man, I feel like the books are just kind of begging us to take the points with the Sky. So let's take a closer look at this one first, man, before we make any kind of decisions, right? In that close loss to Minnesota, Chicago was able to shoot 43% from deep, and they held the Lynx team that sits at 3rd for three-point shooting percentage on the year to just 24% shooting in that one. This isn't a good defensive team by any means, right? Speaking about Chicago, over the course of the year, the Sky are giving up the most three-point makes and at the highest shooting percentage. This starting 5 for the Lynx, man, they can all put them up from deep, right? Do we expect the likes of Alana Smith, Fee, C-Dub, BC, and McBuckets all to go just 3 for 20 again like they did this last time against the Sky? I don't know if we can count on that, man. Bottom has been hot from deep as well for Chicago, but does she hit 6 again like she did against the Lynx? I don't know if we can count on that either, man. Chicago as a whole only averages 7 made threes a game. Chicago is averaging the most turnovers per outing, and Minnesota won the turnover battle in the previous match as well. Now, Lynx are forcing the 3rd most turnovers per game and score the most points off of turnovers. Minnesota also outscored the Sky by 11 for fast break points in that last meeting, and on the season they sit at 3rd in that regard. The Sky are dead last in fast break points allowed. But Chicago does have a distinct advantage on the glass. They've been an offensive rebounding force ever since, Angel Reese joined up with the team last year, right? They did win the battle on the glass with the Lynx last Sunday, 45-37, and they pulled in 14 offensive rebounds as well. But also keep in mind, man, Minnesota wasn't in the best spot situationally in that one. They were playing in their 3rd game in 4 days, 4th and 6th, yet still pulled out a 5-point win and did so after falling behind 24-10 after the first quarter. Just don't envision that much of a slow start or a repeat poor shooting performance like we saw from them that night. So I'm going to be leaning towards laying the points here with Minnesota. And for the total, man, anytime we have the Lynx involved, it's just becoming a spot to look towards the under or just stay away. They play at the slowest pace in the league. They bring the best defense in as well. Just looking at overs with them on the court just kind of feels like more of a risk than it's worth at this point. They've gone under in 13 of 22 games they've played this season. And the Sky, although being an over team this year, they've hit to the under in 2 of their last 3. And that one that didn't hit landed as a push. Head to head, the last 4 in a row between these two have hit to the under as well. So I'd lean under looking at this one. And then looking at our next game, it's going to be the Golden State Valkyries taking on the Las Vegas Aces. We got the Aces laying 1 point in this one, total sitting at 155. 4 p.m. tip-off time for this one. The Aces are back home here after a 5-game road trip, and then they'll have 3 days off before taking on the Wings in Dallas right before the All-Star break. They've lost 3 of their last 4, 4 of their last 6, and also recently lost their star and best player, Asia Wilson, to a wrist injury. And there's no timetable for her return. And with how these things tend to go in the W, she'll be day to day until she isn't, whenever that is. You know what I mean? Because we probably won't get much information on it. They'll just, be day to day, like I said, every game until one of these games, about 2 hours before tip off. Hey, Asia Wilson's back, right? And then we'll all be scrambling as the lines adjust. So this line being essentially a pick 'em kinda indicates that as well, right? Asia Wilson, the uncertainty of her status. Now, the Valkyries come into this one off of a big road win over the Fever that was just their 3rd away win in 9 tries. They've been 2 different teams so far on the road and at home, definitely faring better at home this season. Golden State is sitting at 10-9 straight up and 12-7 against the spread, while the Aces come into this one at 9-11, just 8-12 to the number. I'll be real, man. I'm not sure what to do with this one, because if you know, you know, right? It's an aces game. So me personally, I most likely won't be doing anything, especially as far as the side is concerned. Man, but this is just a spot that, like, numbers wise and data wise, it screams Golden State, but I can't get there, man. I just get this feeling that this is going to be one of those games that the Aces really shouldn't win. But they'll come out and they'll play great ball. You know what I mean? They'll get the win and they'll fool us all into thinking that they got it together and they're going to, start flipping the script and turning their season around. And I'm not gonna buy it, man, because 'cause I've seen the script a million times with this team. It feels like, uh, they are at a one-day rest disadvantage here, but there is a revenge piece to note, man. We gotta keep in mind this Valkyries team beat the brakes off the Aces earlier this year, a 27-point, 95-68 beatdown. So I'm gonna lean Vegas, but yeah, man, I'm not gonna be betting the side here, guys, just full transparency. I do like looking at this total, however, because both these teams have definitely been under teams on the year. 24 of the combined 39 games they've played have hit to the under. Golden State has hit under in 3 of their last 4. Vegas in 5 straight, but on the year to this specific number, that 155, the Valkyries are hitting over at a 56% rate on the road, the Aces at a 67% rate at home. The head-to-head between these two, despite being a blowout, also hit over. The Aces have played faster at home this season as well, sitting at 5th for pace, so I'm gonna lean over in this one. This player props I like for these games. Angel Reese rebounds over 12.5. It's a little juice, minus 140 over there at DraftKings. She's been absolutely crushing, man. She did not cash in that last one, landed at 11 rebounds. But look at this before, right? Whole lot of green. No games less than 15 rebounds over the course of 6 straight games there, averaging just under 13 rebounds on the year. Against this Minnesota Lynx team, we can see that she's had a great deal of success as well. This is over the course of her career so far, 2 games last season and then a game this year. She has not landed underneath 16 rebounds at any point against the Lynx so far. 17 rebounds per game in those games, right? This is the same Minnesota Lynx team that we saw last season as well. And then if we come over here and look at Minnesota for their rebounds allowed, they sit at 7th. If we look at them against that forward position specifically, they're sitting at 2nd to last. So I do think this is a good look for us. Angel Reese over 12.5 rebounds at minus 140. And I also like in that game looking at Alana Smith, her rebounds plus assists under 13.5, sitting at minus 125 on Bet365, man. But I am a little leery for a couple reasons. Now, we do see the Sky sitting at 3rd from last for assists allowed per game, 5th for rebounds. So, their defensive numbers aren't screaming anything great, right? But Alana has hit underneath of this at an absurd rate. I'm not sure why the line is sitting where it's sitting. 2025 on a whole, she's hit this 20 out of 21 games. You know what I mean? The one game that she went over was just 16, 13 rebounds, 3 assists. She's landed underneath that mark 20 times, guys, out of 21 games. So something is throwing me off here. This is a whole lot of green, man. A whole lot of green, like I said down here. 95% hit rate. She's failed to exceed this now in 19 straight games on the road. You know what I mean? So averaging 8 rebounds plus assists in those 19 games on the road. We can look at her in her last 5, averaging 7.5 rebounds plus assists, and then on the season, averaging just barely over 8 rebounds plus assists. So for that line to be sitting at 13.5, I'm just not understanding it, man. I don't know what I'm missing here. Like I said, I know that the Sky defense isn't anything to write home about, but it's not like she's hitting this even against poor defenses. So I'm not seeing what I'm missing here. If you guys are, please throw that in the comments, help somebody out, right? Then one more player that I'd be looking at, Tiffany Hayes, her points over 12.5. Now, this is another situation. Tiffany Hayes, a former ace, right? She won the Sixth Player of the Year last year with the Las Vegas Aces. Points sitting at 12.5. Now, she's not crushing this number on the year, a 58% rate, 7 out of her last 12, right? But she's shooting the ball pretty well, man. 43% on the year, 41% from deep. If we look at her in her last 5, those numbers have been even better. 51% from the field, 48% from downtown. So definitely shooting the ball well. There's a piece for concern here with the Aces defense, right? You can see points allowed, they're sitting at ninth, but against that guard position, they are sitting at second. So doing well with that backcourt defense, between Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray, you can kind of expect that. But Tiffany Hayes has a little bit of experience going up against them every day in practice last year, right? So maybe she has a little bit of a day here. Kayla Thornton also went off in their last game in that blowout where the Valkyries beat down the Aces. So I think that Aces defense is going to focus in a little more on her, and maybe Tiffany Hayes flies underneath the radar. So kind of my train of thought here with this one. I'm not sure if I get there with any of these player props. They've been so up and down this year, but these are 3 that I'd be looking at. And that is going to do it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Hope you found the content helpful and useful. Hope you guys all cash out tonight. I hope you guys all get a bag. I'm going to see you back tomorrow for the next one.